Evening and welcome to Dumb SEO Questions, episode 156. I guess that means we've been running for at least 3 years. Each week we meet to answer the questions asked on the SEO Questions community on Google+. With us tonight we have Chase Rayner. Chase is an SEO from the USA, and you can find Chase at reliablecomputerhelp.com. Masataki Wasa is webmaster of wasaweb.net, and he's also a Google top contributor on the AdSense and the Google Plus Help community. Micah Fisher-Kirchner is SEO manager for Zendesk in the USA, and he's located in the west coast of the US, in Fremont. Yeah, Fremont, is that close?
Yeah, you can just say the Silicon Valley. That'll work too.
Silicon Valley. I do. Do you know Larry Page?
Yeah.
And Tim Capper. Tim is an SEO and conversion rate optimization specialist. You can find Tim at onlineownership.com. He's also a top contributor on the Google My Business community. Our first question tonight, if I can find the right button to click. This is one from someone running an app, Fantasy Players Nation, and he said, "Hey guys, my app just was released last week. My question is, how can I get my app on the top of the list when it is searched, both for iPhone and Android? Can you also get our website top of the list? Thank you, Roman." Unfortunately, web apps are hopelessly spammed. You won't. Actually, look, I should throw this open to our panel first before I add my comment. I'm sorry about that. I made the assumption, guys, that marketing apps wasn't. I'm probably wrong as usual. Micah, you look like you got something knowledgeable to say about apps.
Well, I mean, so there a lot of the kind of SEO for apps is there's a lot of similarities. The industry as a whole, ASO or App Store optimization, will vary depending on kind of what. Instead of being a Google versus kind of other search engines, it's a Google versus Apple market. In the comments, you can take a look at what Kissmetrics has on that. That was provided by Jan Grond. That's going to be a pretty good article, kind of talking about App Store optimization. Yeah, there's a lot of similarities. The differences are going to be that the amount of reviews plays a large part as well, depending on kind of what you're trying to go for. So there's that function in there, but it's not exactly as kind of, how to put, it's not a. It's still kind of a new area, so there's a lot of changes, and it's not as fleshed out comparatively to the standard kind of website optimization. You take a look kind of at the Kissmetrics article. It will provide you a fairly good set, but a lot of the standard SEO things apply, right? Titles, good descriptions, content on the page itself. I don't think. The link side of it is not quite as big when it comes to that, particularly at least on the Apple side. But you're should consider as well other things beyond kind of just purely the store itself. So app indexing is a good area to be considering, so that you're connecting the possibility of people who are searching on their phone, terms that are going to be relevant for your app to come up, because Google, at least on Google's end, is very big about trying to highlight app installs, as well as highlighting the fact that you can, if you already have the app installed, that you can use that app to quickly kind of find what that information is. It's a bit more technical when it comes to that with app indexing and and kind of trying to kind of mimic a little bit sometimes between your site and the app itself, but it can help get that app visibility out there so that people are aware of it outside of just the pure app store.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just looking at Jan Gron's comment on there, just referring to the Kissmetrics article that you referred to, Micah. But the one thing I'd say about his recommendation of the link on moz.com, I wouldn't advise people to look at that. I don't know. I can't offer anything better, but I don't think.
No, the Moz one is not even. That's just a list of companies. No. So I'm not sure if that was an accidental link or whatnot, but the Kissmetrics one is sufficient.
Yeah.
Minus the annoying pop-up. So.
Yeah. But yes, I'd be very wary of the recommendations of just one organisation, no matter how reputable it is. Certainly, Moz is reputable, but
it's not a recommendation. The link is just going to a list of companies they recommend talking to. So I don't know why that link is there.
Okay. Anybody else? All right. I forgot to tweet it. Damn it. Okay. And our next. Well, this is interesting. Speaking of the devil, finding a reputable and knowledgeable SEO company. Roxanne said, I'm sure this question is one that every website business owner asks. How do I find a reputable, knowledgeable SEO company that will actually help my rankings and not break the bank trying?
As someone who's gone through kind of, as well, looking at companies to help supplement some of the work that I'm doing, whether it's due to, not having enough resources in house, or to help out on kind of additional things that we can't get to, to try to speed things up for this type of work in this quarter, or maybe kind of for international areas. Some of the things is just I'll take a look at what kind of clients they might have. Not necessarily an RFP, but getting at least some type of presentation of what stuff they can do, as well as who has at least recommended them. People have heard of them, so experts that I trust in the field, kind of recommending who they might have had experience with and how that's worked. Those are kind of some of the ways that I look at that, because it's all going to depend on the specific areas. Are you looking just overall general SEO, or say one focused on link building, on content, more technical side? What are kind of the interesting areas that there might be? And of course, last but not, and certainly not least, but who is there? Who's kind of running the SEO at those companies that I'll look at, and maybe I've heard of them, and that will give me some additional insight of what kind of company that might be in terms of their SEO practices.
Yeah, I wanted to add something too. Um, I want to say, like, you want to make sure that from what you don't want, you want to make sure that the people who are you're hiring, they're not saying, oh well, we're gonna get you to rank in 10 days for #1 keyword for whatever you're trying to optimize for. If they're saying that, I would not hire them. I was looking at an article also. I don't know how accurate this is, but it's from Website Magazine, and they said you should expect an hourly price of no less than $100 per hour from an agency or $50 per hour from an individual. And monthly pricing, by far the most common pricing model, you should expect to pay at least $750 per month to retain a trustworthy SEO firm. And that was in 2014, so that can be a lot different now. And of course, there's that's really general. I mean, depending on what you're trying to get, like what Mika was saying, you could be trying to get link building, social media marketing, content marketing, regular SEO, local SEO. It just really depends on what you're trying to get.
I think the important thing is really to go through a proper process of selecting someone. And in that sense, it's not much different from hiring other professionals. What would you do if you want your house redecorated or have something plumbed in, or those kind of things? You need to find a plumber, you need to find a decorator, you need to find someone, an installer. How would you go about that? What process would you go through in order to find the right person for the job? You're not going to, in most cases, you're not just going to phone up or go for the first person that that's listed on search engine results. You want to do some research. You want to know what kind of things they have done before. Like Micah said, samples, portfolios. Do they have something that they can show you? Do they have references? Do they have past satisfied customers who can vouch for them? So those kind of things I think you can do. And it seems odd that this question pops up quite often, and more often than perhaps with other trades. And that puzzles me slightly, because the process that you should go through, that's quite similar to other hiring of other professionals.
Yeah, but I do agree. I see it often as well, kind of the uncertainty about it. But I think that's just because SEO is one of those kind of marketing fields that are very flexible, kind of. There's a lot of kind of wishy-washiness or possible multiple answers to things, and kind of depends on this, depends on that. And so that makes it very difficult to kind of sometimes weed out who's right and who to trust, especially kind of with so much different opinions of what should be done online and a lot of the blogs, that it's hard then to weed out the truth from viewpoints, from myths to just complete falsehoods.
Yeah, and I think it's important to quiz them a bit, and whether what they're saying makes sense or not. And
but I think it's hard. I don't think sometimes. I mean, I think that's part of the problem, is that they don't know how to establish a baseline for what those right answers should sound like.
Yeah, I think things should be explained in a way that you can understand, so you can make a judgment. But also, if it sounds too good to be true, or if they're promising something that sounds really, really good for cheap, then you know that something won't really add up. Again, that's same with other things, right? If someone comes up and says, "We can do this for this price," and you think, "Wow, that sounds so good. That sounds so easy. That's so cheap," and your alarm bell will be ringing. But it does seem to be the case that the bell doesn't ring that often when it comes to something like SEO. Perhaps perhaps it's lack of knowledge, lack of reference points that Micah pointed out. But it does seem to be the case that there is sort of abandonment of that critical faculty on the part of the customer or potential customer sometimes.
I would say also off of what Mr. Wass was saying, you want to make sure to check your references and then try to see what kind of return on investment they made, and if it was profitable, then I would say maybe it's worth pursuing the SEO. But if they don't even have any references in the first place, or if those references don't even know if they're getting a return on their investment, then I would not go with that person.
Yeah, it makes it difficult for the people starting in the industry, who may be very good, that don't have past history. So again, that's another issue, isn't it? I think the past record is very important, and it's very difficult for customers to decide what is good based on even short test or sample, because you don't know what you're looking for. If it's something that's tangible, if it's something that's created, you can see, that furniture looks a bit lopsided. It's not standing straight. Then you can see it immediately from the sample whether something is good or bad. But with SEO, then it's not really that kind of thing. You can really see it immediately and make a judgment that anyone can do or see or perceive. So it is a very difficult industry in that sense to find a good one, or to avoid bad ones.
Okay. Micah is just about to leave us. Thank you, mate. Safe journey to work. Are you closer to work now?
A little bit. I mean, it's very small amount to the train station, so not a huge difference.
Okay. The photo is on your profile or on the SEOquestions.com site?
No, I'm just talking in the word chat, the group chat. It was weird, just not showing up for me right now.
That's right, it's gone. What's going on?
I don't know.
Weird.
Yeah, we'll figure that out later.
Well, maybe you don't know Larry Page. Okay, buddy. Stay steady. Thank you. Look, the thing I'd say is that most clients base their search on their budget, and so they say, I need an SEO and I've got $1,000 a month to spend. So when they find somebody with $1,000 bill, they think that's their relationship made. And I think that's a colossal mistake. I'm only talking about here in Australia, but there is a company here in Australia which it's listed publicly. It's made its founder about 45 million, but they sell a package and or sell a lot of packages, but they cater to clients who are just looking for SEO, and what they have a couple of private blog networks and link wheels and so on, and what they do is they add links to their networks. They outsource the basic citation work to India or Azerbaijan or wherever, and they create fake reviews, which is all well and good. And they lock these clients into a 12-month contract. So they're charging $1,000 a month. The cost, they might be paying $20 a month for the citation work done from overseas, and it's their private blog network, so really it's just clerical time to create these fake reviews, which will absolutely destroy the people. Will absolutely destroy the people once it all gets collated and indexed. I think everybody here will agree with me that the only direction for a site that does this is down. I mean, this company can't even get its own sites to rank. But the difference is that they're a very, very efficient sales force, a very effective sales force, and the clients are blissfully unaware that they're being done over. So, my advice to anybody who wants to hire an SEO company is don't hire an SEO company. You don't want an SEO company. You want to know what tasks they're going to do for you. You want them to do a site audit of your site. You want them to identify the weaknesses on your site and give you guidance to make amends or do them for you. Yes, you need links, that goes without saying, but you don't pay some idiot to add something to a private blog network that might last this month or next month, but seriously, once it gets seen and the calculations made, your site's on the way down. If you do need assistance. If you do need assistance in talking to your clients and suppliers and your sphere of influence to gather links, then you hire somebody who's skilled in outreach to go to the sites that will suit you and see if there is a valid reason for linking. But don't pay somebody that's just going to spam the web, because you'll spend your $1,000 a month because you've looked for an SEO company rather than looked for someone to carry out basic functionality, and there's a lot of value to be had in spending the money on making your site as fast as it possibly can be, on making your site as responsive to the different devices as it can be, even to the extent of creating a specific mobile site if it's warranted. There's a lot of value in rewriting boilerplate on your site so that it provides a better user outcome. All of those things have nothing to do with off-page that these shonky businesses provide. That's the end of my rant. Anybody else with a view on this? No? Okay. All right. Let's move on to the next. I hope, Roxanne, all of that's been useful to you. Reputable TP is an interesting one. What is Google Tag Manager and why are we using Google Tag Manager? Thanks in advance.
Anyone? Okay, so Google Tag Manager basically is an easier way for you to manage, well, actually to manage quite a lot of things in terms of analytics, and different things, rather than having to change your code on your site depending on what you want to achieve in terms of analytics or data points, or which all relate to obviously different points on a page. Rather than having to update that code every time you want to create something or see something different, or data points in your analytics and things like that, Google Tag Manager, what that does is you create a Google Tag Manager account. That code then goes onto your site's pages. So then what happens is you create different things within Google Tag Manager, and the Tag Manager uses, I suppose, think of it like an API talking to the site. So like Sandeep said, it's sort of an interface between the two. It allows you to update, change things in Google Tag Manager on data that you want to see or reported on, rather than having to change the code in your site every time the Tag Manager interfaces what you want.
Tim, isn't it kind of similar to just implementing schema markup?
No, because you can also use it for analytics. So you can, like, let's say your Book Now button. If you wanted to, check like your Book Now button, or Buy Now button, or let's say you had an email sign-up form and you wanted engagement and data on that, abandonment on it, or whatever the case may be, you can use it that way. But yeah, it's kind of a nice, easy way of, as an interface, rather than having to change codes on pages or site-wide, you can just rather use that.
Yeah.
In theory.
There's a cute extension for Google Chrome called Tag Assistant. If you ever want to check a site or a page, you can run that, and it'll verify that you've got the code properly loaded. Lots of times people will say, "Oh, my traffic has gone down 50%." The traffic hasn't changed at all. It's just that they've inadvertently left the code off 50% of their pages.
Yeah. Or you want to update something, and then instead of updating all the pages, the guy, it's never ending. Or adding the tracking code twice on page. Hey, I've even seen it 4 times on page before.
Well, that's one way to build up traffic.
Yeah, it's like, hey, yeah, it's like, hey, I can guarantee you an increase in traffic. Just
look what I've done. Actually, maybe we can start an SEO company doing that.
Oh man, that's like, it's crazy. It's that's like that fantastic scam that was going around where, you get these cold call SEOs, and one of my clients was sent like a, hey, take a look at your site's not doing very well, blah, and I think it was Open Site Explorer they used, the brief overview one. I think it was Open Site. Anyway, basically what they'd done is they'd taken the non-dub version of the URL and used it, right? So of course your non-dub is going to have less links. It's going to, have less pages indexed. It's going to, well, you know what I mean. So anyway, so they used that, but obviously when the client sees the PDF, it's like they can see their URL, and then you can obviously, there's a link saying to view this live, click here, and then they can see it live, and it's like, oh my God, they phone you up going, what the hell's going on? And it's like, actually, just add the dub back in there, and so, I mean, it was really good because all these guys would charge you a couple of grand a month for, let's say, I don't know, 3 or 4 months, then send you a report with the full domain included, and you're like, wow, thank you. Yeah.
Again, people should learn for themselves a little bit. I mean, a lot of SEO. I mean, SEO is not a black box anymore, is it? Or was it ever for genuine SEOs? The tasks, it's simply a lot of mechanical functions and a little bit of marketing insight thrown in. But it's certainly not something that you should be able to ask who's ever working for you what they've done. Can you show me what you've done? Because their work should be visible. That reasonable, Tim?
Yeah, I suppose some little bits. Let's say you've just had a new thing and you've changed. Oh, I mean, let's say you've just got the site and it had bulk standard formatted title tags, let's say, for like argument's sake. I mean, yeah, for sure, but I suppose that the owner might not see the difference. He might think, well, that was what my title always was, or whatever the case may be. So some things may not be visible, but if you're doing an outreach campaign, there should be the spreadsheet of who was contacted, why they were contacted, because you don't just randomly create an outreach campaign. Who was contacted and why, because obviously they had mentioned the brand before on this site. You should be able to show some methodology, yeah, definitely, and everything. Even if it's just a report on, wow, okay, so these were the links we attracted this month based upon this piece of content we published. Yeah, you should always be able to show something. In fact, pretty much all of it, unless, I mean, I don't think the client wants to know is like, oh, okay, well, we canonicalized these pages. If the client wanted to visibly go and see every single page that you added canonicals to or something, yeah, fair dues. But yeah, you are right in saying that there should always be some kind of visible something, whether it's on-site or off-site.
Yeah, true enough. All right, let's move on to the next. Aaron Diamond has had a traffic downfall. Aaron says, hi all, below is the attached snapshot about a traffic reduction on my site. This can be seen on the SEO Questions community on Google+. He said, please let me know if there has been any new Google update which may have affected my website and caused a drop in traffic. Or please suggest to me what I should do to increase my traffic again. Thanks.
Check your analytics tracking code. As we just mentioned. No, seriously, what is that date that the rough drop was? So roughly, around about May, was it, sort of? January, February, or March? Or was that January? I can't see the dates in that.
Let me try.
It looks like July.
It was. Let me go scroll down. July the 15th to July the 29th, more or less. Actually, it was started. The rise commenced just prior to July 15. and it looks like about July 25th.
Yeah, I mean, is that an aberration? That the sort of mountain, that you can see, lasting about, I suppose, a week or 10 days or so, starting on 15th of July.
What was the traffic like the same period the previous month, or at least 6 months?
Yeah. If you exclude that mountain, there is a drop after 12th of August. You can, if you just draw a sort of straight line up until August, I suppose that'd be 14th, something like that, then it's sort of stable, isn't it? And then after that, it drops. I'm not sure whether that's what he's referring to.
He said he made his site responsive. Well, it all depends on how you made it responsive. But your overall main shouldn't see a drop like that just because it went onto a responsive template. It shouldn't have anything to do with.
Yeah. No, I think we need a longer range data than that.
Yeah, and do we have a URL possibly?
No, I don't think he gave one.
No, because that sort of spike, I think, is an aberration. I don't know what happened then. If you remove that, and then if you could see the longer picture, the longer range, and perhaps see the data in weeks rather than days.
Taking out that quick rise, it still kind of looks like there's a progressive drop coming August, middle of August. It's still progressively kind of dipping.
Yeah, that's a big dip, and that's consistent.
I mean, like I said last week, I had a client that dipped between July and September. I did two things, so neither of which one I can say was the result in it increasing again. I double checked because it's a big site and we often get there's shed loads of spam links and really bad stuff. I updated the disavow file, and we had a large portion of images, roughly around 50,000 images, which had somehow come out of their canonical tags, or the canonical tags had come out of the images back to the main one. So all of a sudden we had 50,000 additional URLs as such. So potentially a Panda. Now I know even over this time, and it hasn't fully rolled out, we are looking at a Panda rollout. So that may be potentially something you'd need to look at in terms of, that's the only one I know that's rolling out at the minute and still rolling is Panda. So potentially look at duplicate URLs. I don't know if this is an e-commerce site, so do you have any parameter pages? Look at that. Have you correctly canonicalized any pages, or technically duplicate pages, or have you got tags or multiple tags and things like that? Have you no-indexed those? I mean, have a look at it from a Panda point of view, and there might be something going on there that they don't like in terms of your site.
Yeah, and I'd say to Aaron and anybody else posting a question, if there's any way that you can convey to us the URL of your site, if you may not want to publish it publicly, you can communicate with any moderator of the SEO Questions community and pass that URL on, and we'll share it here without putting it onto our Hangout on Air, if that's what you want. But it's so much easier. I mean, it's hard to be specific without looking at the actual site itself. All right, we move on from this one. Recording that as a yes. Here's one from Pablo Caso. He said, "Hi everyone. Since February, Google in the news box does not show changes in the headlines. However, I have noticed that Google sometimes does it. Why? And curious to hear your thoughts." None of us are news specialists, are we?
No, but I mean, from my own experience of just blogging almost daily and trying to, optimize for long tail keywords or just optimizing for local search when I'm not blogging, Google doesn't always want to take your titles, especially if your titles are almost appear spammy. Like for instance, if you mention the keyword you're trying to target more than once in your title, sometimes Google won't, put what you want, and they'll just put kind of what they think your title's about.
Looking at that question, there's something about it. Since February, Google in the news box does not show changes in headlines. Is he talking about news? Google News. Well, I'm not entirely sure what it means because I use Google News quite a lot and I see titles. I wonder if Pablo can just take a screenshot of what he means, because I'm a little confused to exactly what he means, and then we can give a much clearer answer. And he might have stumbled on something that nobody's actually noticed yet.
Okay, let's hope that Pablo will hear this and update his question next week with a screenshot, and we'll try again. Sorry, Pablo, but that's all we have for this week. All right. Next is from from Gayatri Muthusami on a symbol in the title. And Masataki Wasa is our expert in typography, I think. What's that like two double dots?
I suppose it's just a visual thing to say it's a separate thing. So I think essentially, in this case, I think it is the title of, it looks like a photograph or something like that. Then it's colon place name, I suppose, and then date or something like that. So it's just to separate information visually, I think. So you could be pernickety and say grammatically speaking you have to use this and that, but I think it is there to signify to the readers that they are two separate things. So people won't sort of mistake. They are not going to say. They won't think it's all one thing. So. So in that sense, I don't think that really matters.
Yeah, I think they're just using it as But to me, you're wasting character spaces. Also, in that title that they've posted as an example, the commas in there are also, to me, a waste of characters because your title is very limited in terms of character spacing. So it's a waste of space. But yeah, it's there's no SEO anything about it. It's just how the person believes that they feel that it's creating a more visually appealing title in the search results.
Yeah. You can save 2 characters by just using the colon immediately after Lochagut. Colon, space.
Yeah, certainly.
Yeah, in the WordPress application for SEO Yoast, they give you all the different options. They give you the the lines and the I don't know what you would even call those, the alligator signs. What would those be? The arrows. But I've done testing myself, and I don't know how true this is, but I've done different variations. I've done the lines, and then I've done commas, and I feel like I get better results when I use commas. But that might just be the changing of the words while I'm using the commas. So I wouldn't use that as a reference. It's just something that I've experienced.
Yeah, I used to use downpipes, but I don't know. I guess visually now, I don't like it anymore. So I'll just use a hyphen when I separate out the brand term, but I won't separate. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, it kind of what looks okay in that space, for that search result. That's a personal preference, I suppose. It won't have any play, I don't think. I don't believe.
Yeah. Okay, we have another question, I think. No, we don't. We've done it again, guys. We've answered all of the questions asked on the SEO Questions community this week. Well done. Thank you. Now we move on to our weekly news roundup, in which through the week we add new things that pop up onto the SEO news community on Google+. You can add your own and we'll discuss them. You can even join us live on air and participate in the discussion. Our first one this week is, it was originally shared by Tim Capper and it was posted by Edwin Yonk. And it was about a webinar with SEMrush, where Tim took a look at the most common mistakes made by e-commerce sites, how to identify them and how to correct them. Tim planned to make this a 30-minute webinar and spent 90 minutes on it. What did you manage to fill that 90 minutes in with, Tim?
I don't know, to be truthful, Jim, and hopefully the viewers didn't fall asleep. But when it goes live on the SEMrush site, you'll be able to judge for yourself.
And how did the webinars go? Is there any interaction with the audience?
It's slightly different from Hangouts, because obviously on a Hangout now, for example, I can see the chats going on. If I wanted to, I could switch screens and share screen. They were using GoToWebinar, I think, and it was just my the presentation slides that filled the screen. I couldn't see anything else, and I couldn't then go, if I wanted to explain a tool or, for example, a canonical, I had to verbally explain it. I couldn't kind of switch to, let's say, a web page and then view source and show the canonical. If so, or maybe it was just me being a bit thick and not figuring out how to do it. But I much prefer the normal Hangouts. But yeah, it was good. Good learning curve for GoToWebinar, but obviously my preferred choice would be Hangouts. But hey ho, no, it was good. It was really good. And there was a lot of questions at the end, which obviously took up a big chunk of the time. So yeah, I mean, people seem to be engaged.
Well, that's
You can
cool,
judge
mate.
for yourself. Yeah.
All right, let's move on to our next news item. Well, this was one that I added. Maxim asked, he made a post on Google Plus. He asked Larry Page to please dismiss Matt Cutts. Matt Cutts killed the Google quality search, and in Russia the Google search is very bad. Now, Tim Kaplan, apparently you're a close confidant of Vladimir Putin. I'm going to have to ask you to comment on this one.
Well, firstly, whoever was, I think Matt's cut, mate. You're about 2 years late on that. Is it 2 years already? Maybe. How long is it since he left? 2 years? Year and a half?
I don't think it'd be 2 years. It might be a year. Yeah.
A year. Okay, let's call it a year. So yeah, wow, he's long gone. But I don't know if Maxim's aware, but you know, every country has slight different variations of kind of algos running. So Europe and the US tend to sort of all work together. I'm not entirely sure on that further side. I know Africa, geez, you can get away with some really old school stuff in Africa. South America, man, you know, there you can, well, you know, that's like another ball game. So it all depends on what country you're in, and as we know, spammers and you know, SEOs, well, I don't know if I want to call them SEOs, but you know, there are always people that are willing to try something a little bit riskier or try something you know, that goes against the grain, and it really messes up the search results. So look, ultimately the algos have to catch up with that. But I'm not sure if you were saying that the search results killed your rankings. So I don't know if you're saying the search results in Russia are really bad, or are you trying to say that you were pushing the envelope and you got your search results dropped? Either way, what I'm saying is every country Google slightly develops and tries to you know, tries to work within how different search in different countries work, and if there's a particular spate of something going on, then they will try and address that particularly. So give them time, you know, they'll catch up, mate. Or if it's the other flip side, well, I'm sorry, you pushed the envelope and you just never made the cut.
Fair enough. Well, that's your work for tonight, Maxine. Excuse me.
Well, and if you want to take it up with my my confidant, just nip it out of the red square.
Yeah. Look out the window, Maxime. Is that a knock on your door? Okay, so we're at that time of the broadcast again. It's thank you for watching. Is there any other items of general business before we close, guys? No. Well,
no. No, I think we yeah, it's been a hectic week. Like so many different webinars and tweet chats and all sorts going on, isn't it? This week.
It's been a busy week.
It has.
I'm surprised that you guys got out of that pub in London. If you're on Google Plus, you'll see Masataki Wasta, Tony McCreath, and Tim at a pub in London. I think Tim was there drinking shandies. And I'm surprised at that too, Tim, because I mean you are the guy that said you'd rather have a bottle in front of you than a frontal lobotomy.
Jim, I still had to get the train. There's nothing worse than a long train ride when you've had too many sherbets and you need the loo.
Okay. Well, look, I see that we still have eyes watching us, and we thank you for that, because your interest in what we do makes what we do worthwhile. I'm going to put a link into this Hangout in the SEO Questions community, and we'd love to have you join us. We'll be off the air, but we'd love to have a chat with you. We'll be back at the same time next week to do it all again, if I don't die in the meantime. Oh, pardon me, sorry.